third fastest in the world this year. And on the outside, Beatrice Chebet, World Junior Cross Country Champion and African Champion over 5,000 metres. A brilliant lineup. 10,000 metre runners stepping down to the 5,000 and 1,500 metre runners stepping up. Speed against strength meets over 12.5 laps. The women's 5,000 metre final gets underway, and the reigning Olympic champion goes straight to the back. Sifan Hassan, out of your picture, has not had an easy season. And there are whispers in the distance running fraternity that the Ethiopians could go for a clean sweep here. They have the second, third and fourth fastest athletes in the world this year in this race. Seo is a world indoor silver medalist over the 1,500. There's Gide with bib 5, just ahead of Tsegay as Eilish McColgan comes round on the outside. Gide's completed the set of global medals over the 10 with a gold here, having got a silver in Doha and a bronze in Tokyo. And Gudaf TSEGAY, 5,000 metre bronze last year, and Sifan Hassan, a silver in the 1,500 metres. Maybe you would say out of the three Ethiopians, TSEGAY with that raw speed that almost lived with Faith Kipyegon in the 15. Maybe she is the favourite out of the three Ethiopians. But the Tesembet Gide was magnificent and found wonderful form to outsprint everyone at the end of the 10,000. Pretty steady here as they come round towards the home straight. Tanaka will be itching to hit the front. A really gutsy run to qualify, and it won't be long before she thinks, hang on a minute, we're basically tiptoeing here, somebody's got to do something. It's the Tesembet Gide who hits the front. She's having a full-on conversation with Dawit Seyum. All three of the Ethiopians conversing. It'd be fascinating to get some close-up shots of that, just to see. It's almost as if they're out for a training run. And the biggest problem when a big pack run like this, Dan, they really are jogging. It's almost ridiculous. Someone could easily fall at this stage.
Yeah, they're clear out into the third lane, into the fourth lane, as McColgan comes into picture. What was interesting, though, was to see the Ethiopians up front having a chat, saying, hey, here's what we're going to do, strategizing during the race.
And at last, they have come up with their plan, and it's Gudaf TSEGAY leading. The Tesembet Gide is the tallest of the three Ethiopians. She's in third, with Dawit Seyum in second. And now, Caroline Kipkurui of Kazakhstan, formerly of Kenya, seventh in the 10,000 metres. She comes through and tucks in behind Gudaf TSEGAY with 10 laps to go. It's not single file. Now at least we've got a proper race on our hands. It was almost as if everyone was waiting for one of the Ethiopians to decide to go. When they were jogging round to the start of the 1,500 on the back straight on the previous lap, they were almost at a complete standstill. And still on the right of picture, in the orange vest, no move from Sifan Hassan. Great work by the camera crew there to show us Cranny in the centre back room. The big striding Eilish McColgan just towards the back. That's the gap from first to 15th. That's Beatrice Chebet, the World Junior Cross Country Champion from Aarhus. What a great race that was on a brutal course in Denmark 3 years ago. She now comes up onto the shoulder of the former Kenyan, Kipkurui. And Tesembet Gide having another conversation here. They almost look like they're smiling, talking to each other. It's far too slow for Gide's liking, and that is why the long, flowing, striding 10,000 metre champion has decided to hit the front. And I wonder whether this move into first place will be a little more definitive than that of her compatriot Gudaf TSEGAY.
Well, for a while there, it looked like Gudaf was just running blocking for the leaders. She would surge ahead, and then she would get in front of the Kenyans, and she would slow it down just a little bit. I saw her do that 2 or 3 different times. Now she's up front. She's going to take her turn at leading this pack.
So Gudaf, followed by Gudaf TSEGAY, Beatrice Chebet, the other 2 Kenyans queuing up. Margaret Kipkemboi is the one on the curb. She got the silver medal in this event 3 years ago. Rory Akite is the less decorated between Kipkemboi and herself. She's just in around about 5th place at the moment. Well, Gudaf has gone to the front, but she hasn't really injected too much pace. And once again, a little bit of tit for tat. TSEGAY takes her turn at the front. And little by little, this is surely going to have to get faster. Sifan Hassan has attached herself to the back of that group. Jess Judd is the athlete on the right of picture with the bobbing head and the ponytail. She's become detached from this group. And Avish McColgan of Great Britain is also just at the back of that group of around about 12 or 13, with Sifan Hassan just in front of her. The 3 Americans running all in a line on the inside.
Well, as they get to the 200-meter mark, they're into a stiff headwind. And I think it's probably pretty smart that they almost go single file right there. That is where the wind comes right past the tower and onto the front of that back straight.
TSEGAY looking around. It's Rory Akite on the curb. TSEGAY leading. Gudaf in second. Akite third. Seum, the other of the Ethiopians, now in 4th. And how often have we seen this at the front of global distance races, male and female? The might of the 2 East African nations, separated by the vast, stunning Rift Valley. If you are a fan of distance running, both Kenya and Ethiopia are stunning countries to visit. There's some fantastic trails. You can get off-road and run in wonderful countryside. And you really feel the sense when you run in Kenya and Ethiopia. You really do feel that you're somewhere magical when it comes to distance running, even if you're just jogging along at 7-minute miling. There are runners everywhere of all abilities, some wearing tracksuits, some running in bare feet. Distance running is part of life in Ethiopia and Kenya, and it's a contributing reason, but not the only reason, why the Ethiopians and the Kenyans enjoy so much success on the global stage, all of which, of course, is underpinned by incredible amounts of hard work. Yes, there is a certain advantage to being born at altitude, but without the graft that goes along with it, the performances wouldn't come. The longer this race goes on, you suspect the more it plays into the hands of Gudaf TSEGAY. Just getting an update on the statistics of Kip Kurui. She is an excellent runner. Just on the right of picture there, she's the Kenyan, but she represents Kazakhstan, so she has that rather distinctive pale blue and yellow vest. TSEGAY has got brilliant raw speed. That's why she was almost able to live with the pace of Faith Kipyegon in the 1500 metres. Very steady again now, Dan. Nobody's really prepared to really go for this, and they'll have to at some stage because there's only 5 laps to go.
Well, it's interesting, yeah, it looks like a game of cat and mouse right now, but what this is doing, though, is it's also allowing a number of other athletes just to stay in this race. You'd think that the Kenyans and the Ethiopians could just actually pour it on and break away from this pack. But they just continue to lead one another here. Gudaf TSEGAY back and forth, just taking turns doing the work.
Side by side. And now, TSEGAY decides to try and inject some pace. She's had a look over her shoulder. Beatrice Chebet is there for Kenya. Kite on the inside. No move yet from the other of the Ethiopians. Gudaf TSEGAY, we've got a world indoor silver over the 1500. It's not a definitive move. She keeps looking round. This game of cat and mouse has to come to the boil at some stage soon. Sifan Hassan is still attached to the back of that group. Eilish McColgan beginning to lose ground. She's just on the right of picture. Gudaf TSEGAY is the second of the Ethiopians. She's not quite as tall as TSEGAY, and Gide looks over her shoulder again and motions with her right arm. Come on, let's do something. And TSEGAY responds, her teammate. Perhaps TSEGAY feels the longer they allow the rest to stay in this group, the likelier it is that they don't have the last couple of laps all their own way. The rest are beginning to queue up. Kip Kemboy, the silver medalist from 2019. Don't rule out the other Kenyan, Kip Kirui, who represents Kazakhstan. She's back in around about 5th place with Sayum in 6th. Good running as well by the Americans to stay in touch in this final. Schweitzer and Cranney just towards the back of that group. 3 laps to go now, and it still feels cagey. And TSEGAY still looking over her shoulder. The Ethiopians have done the clean sweep in 2005 and 2015. Great atmosphere in the stadium. The crowd here are not just interested in sprints, and they're not just interested in American gold, silver and bronze. They've roared for some of the East African nations in the distance events so far, and there'll be a big cheer as they get towards the bell, but there's a little bit of work to do yet. Now Gide goes to the front. Surely she's going to strike out now. It's fractionally quicker. They had a 71, that's a 70. And Gudaf TSEGAY in second place is having a look at the big screen, and she won't necessarily like what she's seen because all the big contenders are right behind her. And we haven't really spoken about Sifan Hassan, the Olympic champion. She did an unprecedented double in Doha, winning the 1500 and the 10,000. No one's ever done that, and won a medal at the 1500 after winning the 5 and the 10 last year. She was off the podium in the 10,000 metres, but with 800 to go, she's just at the back of that group. 3 Ethiopians, but 2 Kenyans are there, and the athlete from Kazakhstan. Surely this is playing into the hands of the 1500-metre specialists, and if Sifan Hassan can rediscover her explosive speed, maybe she can get herself on the podium here after being bitterly disappointed in the 10,000 metres. Remember, the 5,000-metre Olympic champion has had a hard year, and she started her season late, but Hassan responds. TSEGAY leads from Gide, Beatrice Chebet and Kip Kemboy are right up there. Kite has drifted off the pace, the third of the Kenyans. It's anyone's race now as they come round with 500 metres to go. It's been one of the cagiest races over 12 and a half laps I can ever remember. But now it's about to explode into life. They take the bell in the final of the women's 5,000 metres. Gudaf TSEGAY leads. She got a silver in the 1500. In second place, Sifan Hassan. She's the Olympic champion. What a fantastic victory it would be for her. She's done virtually nothing all season, but they ran the early laps so slowly it's played into the sprinters' hands. Beatrice Chebet, the World Junior Cross Country champion, trying to come up on the outside of TSEGAY, and TSEGAY has drifted towards the outside of lane 1, and that's allowed Sifan Hassan to come through on the inside. They're running so close together, these 3. It's a miracle they haven't tripped each other up. Hassan has got the inside line, but has she got the speed? It's been a difficult season for the Dutch woman. Segay's coming past her. Silver in the 1500. Little by little, Segay's pulling away. A great effort by Chebet, the cross-country specialist. But Gudaf TSEGAY takes the 5,000-metre title. Chebet takes the silver. And it's a bronze for Gudaf TSEGAY. It was just too slow for the likes of Latessa Bet-Gidey to live with the explosive pace at the end. It was so tense and so tactical, and despite her mistake of letting Sifan Hassan come through on the inside with 200 to go, Gudaf TSEGAY was not to be denied the title. Silver in the 15, but it's all gold tonight over the 5, and TSEGAY is hoisted aloft by her friends and teammates. Fantastic for Gudaf TSEGAY. She tastes the podium on a memorable evening.
Wow, that was really something, Rob, and I wasn't 100% sure what we were watching. So many different moves. That race absolutely had it all. Lead changes, and just when you thought with a lap to go, is Sifan Hassan and ruin this all, spoil it all for the Ethiopians. But it was just too much. You said the 1500-meter runners were going to make their move with a lap to go, and they certainly did. TSEGAY certainly has shown people what she's capable in the 1500 meters, but Hassan definitely made a run of it. But talk about the teamwork throughout the entire race by the Ethiopians. The Kenyans could never really quite get together and work together as a group, but it was the Ethiopians controlling that pace and that entire race until the end when it was a free-for-all sprint.
And I did wonder at one stage whether they'd made a mistake to let Hassan through on the inside. Gudaf TSEGAY, a wonderful bronze from her. Gidey was 5th in the end. Kemboy was 4th. Great silver for Beatrice Chebet. She came up onto Gudaf TSEGAY's shoulder, but just didn't quite have the raw pace down the final 50. And that was almost an inevitability because they let the early pace drift. But the Ethiopians are already singing and dancing. It's been an excellent championship for them, it really has. So Gidey took the 10, and TSEGAY's taken the 5. She'll be over the moon with that. It was a brilliant effort from Sifan Hassan because she has had a horrible season that started really late. She only registered her first finish over the 5,000 earlier in July. So she got herself in the right position, but unlike Doha and unlike Tokyo, when she came round the final bend on the inside, she just didn't quite have the speed and the stamina in her legs to hang on for a medal. But you're quite right. I mean, it was as if they were out for a Sunday morning jog in the early stages.
Well, it's so unusual, though, to see teammates like that getting up front, talking to each other, but it looked like they had a plan. You see, Gidey would just block Chebet. She would just surge ahead, get in the front, and then she would slow things down. But Hassan had had enough of the playing with about a lap to go, and she needs to create a little space for herself because she has such a long stride and long legs. This move to the inside, that was a tricky move right there, onto the rail. And I thought, oh no, here goes Hassan. She's going to ruin this for the Ethiopians. Let's see what she's got left.
It was a mistake by TSEGAY just to drift towards the outside of the lane. I think she did it because Chebet was quite close to her. At this point, Dan, they were running so close together that it is a miracle none of them tripped each other up. And that was the point at which Hassan's lack of fitness began to tell. And Gudaf TSEGAY just wound it up and wound it up. Chebet did really well to respond to the extent to which she did. The former World Junior Champion and World Cross Country Champion. But Gudaf TSEGAY savoured every single second of that moment. So often it hasn't been her turn to finish on top spot. But she got it right tactically. And she at last collects the global gold she's striven towards for years. At 1500 metre speed saw her home over 12.5 laps. Thousands of miles in the bank. That's why it means so much. Gudaf TSEGAY continues a great week for the Ethiopians, taking the 5,000 metre title. Excellent silver for Beatrice Chebet, and Dawit Seyum makes it 2 Ethiopians on the podium. The 10,000 metre champion Letesenbet Gide finished in 5th. Schweitzer didn't manage to finish. Tough running for the Brits, the Japanese and the Americans.